thing. It's called terminalcp. It is Playright for the terminal. It lets your agents control any kind of interactive and non-interactive command line tool by spawning a new process in the background and then wrapping that in a virtual terminal or a pseudo terminal if you want. The agent can then interact with that terminal by reading its outputs, basically what you would see in the terminal itself, including the scroll buffer, and sending it inputs, kind of like if you would type on your keyboard and press enter, so to speak. What does that help you with? Well, that lets Claude and other agents control things like command line debuggers or other agentic coding CLIs. Sky's the limit, really. Anything goes. So I have published this on npm. You can install it pretty easily with all your most beloved MCP capable coding tools or other LLM tools. So I'm not going to bore you with the installation. I'm just going to show you how it works. So I've already installed it with Claude. If you type MCP, oopsie, wrong one. That's the tool. And there's really only a single tool and it takes a JSON object as an input, and that object has an action field which defines what action should be taken. Start will run this command in this working directory, spawn it as a background process, and return immediately to Claude, giving it an ID for that process. Then once the process is started, we can get its terminal outputs via the standard out action and optionally specify how many lines from the bottom of the terminal we want to return. And we can also send keyboard input with the standard in action. For submission in many of those tools, you need to separately send the carriage return like this. That's why the instructions here explicitly call that out twice, just to lower the amount of frustration. All right, so how do we use it? Well, pretty simple. I have a little C program here and it has a very obvious bug. I'd like to debug this. The way I, as a human, would do this is I would run LLDB, a command line debugger for native programs with dwarf information. And now with terminal, Claude can debug this for us, like that. Please use the terminal tool to spawn LLDB and debug the proc executable in this directory. There's a bug somewhere, maybe you can locate it. Obviously, this is not a very good prompt, but it will do for demonstration purposes. Well, let's hope it just doesn't go by the source code. I see there's a one-off error. Well, it did. Anyways, it starts LLDB with the start command in this directory. Then it gets its output, which is only 3 lines at that point. Then it sends input. It sets a breakpoint. The B command is one of the CLI TUI arguments that LLDB understands. It sends carriage return as a separate thing just to submit it. Then it gets the output again, the last 20 lines. Then it runs the run command, which will actually start the process, and so on and so forth. It can, when it stops at a breakpoint, it can inspect variables, blah, 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 blah. The good thing about this is that most of these tools that it would run with this terminal MCP are standard tools. That means there's a lot of training data for them in all of the LLMs, which means we don't even have to tell them how to use these tools because they already know. Okay, I think for demonstration purposes, this is enough. As you can see, this is the buffers that Claude is getting from the standard out action. And that is all it needs to understand and work with this program. All right, let's stop here and please kill this process again. We want to do something else. As I've shown you before, you can also, the user of the terminal tool can also list all the processes that are currently managed by it and kill individual processes, all of the processes. Okay, by the way, I found the bug. Well, this is nice of you. Let's do something else. Let's use a tool for which there is not a lot of training data, if at all, in any of the LLM training sets. Okay, now please use the terminal tool to run. I'm gonna type this out, not OpenAI. I did that before. So OpenCode is another coding CLI, agentic coding CLI. Does the same thing, starts the thing in the background in this working directory, and then it gets the outputs. In this case, it might have been too early. Get the output again, please. Because it takes a little while for the process to start up and actually print something. All right, so it actually sees this now. Let's see if we can switch the model. Can you list the models? So it types /models, followed by carriage return, and then it fetches the buffer again, which looks like this. Okay, can you switch to GPT OSS 120B croc? I haven't tried this before, so this might fail. So it enters this and gets the standard out. Aha, yeah. And then it sends a bunch of whatever and more and fetches again. Perfect. Is in the list. Let me select it using the arrow keys. Well, this is funny. Now let's press enter. And we are using GPT OSS 120B. This is nice. So perfect. The model has switched to blah, blah, blah. So not bad, right? You can navigate the TUI interface, including arrow keys. Finally, let's prompt GPT OSS. Okay, now I'd like you to add a prompt that OpenCode should execute with that model, and it should be something like this. Please write a self-contained HTML file using Three.js that renders a spinning cube with some nice shading. Finally, after you've completed that HTML file, use the bash or shell tool with the open command to open that HTML file in the browser. So all of that was the prompt that OpenCode should execute. And unsurprisingly, that's just submitting this string again via the standard in action and then a carriage return, and then just waiting for it to finish. There we go. Well, I guess GPT OSS first opened the HTML file. Okay, I think there's an error in there. Oh yeah. Let's see. Tell OpenCode to fix this. And then use open again. Obviously, this is not the most efficient way to use OpenCode, but it's an option now. Oh well, this is still bugged. What? Uh-huh. Well, we're now doing something called Stille Post in Austrian, where we tell someone something and they're supposed to tell it someone else. Oh my god, this is hilarious. So, what was the last output here? Has been updated correctly. Import Three.js as an ES module. Why would you do that? Terrible. It looks like OpenCode encountered an error. Let me try with a simpler, more direct instruction. There we go. So, ta-da! Finally it worked. Is there another? Yes. Very good. So yeah, there you have it. terminalcp. Links in the description below, if there is one. Bye!